People do not care how things work, how anything actually works. Like, how can you parade around talking about a subject, telling other people about this subject, not understanding the subject at all? Everyone who has a problem, problems would vanish. Only we had the key to the Scrooge McDuck vault. It does not work that way. There is not a Scrooge McDuck vault. I am good at annoying people. This is an annoying trait to have, I think. Because no one thinks this way. Hey, welcome to the Create Unknown, the home of Make Something Mean Something. I am Kevin Lieber. I'm flying solo again today. Matt will be back eventually. There was a message in the Discord chat asking if Dad and Dad broke up. No. Listen, your two dads are just fine. Just life has been a little tumultuous for various reasons, and we will be rejoining soon. Today, I wanted to talk about... Here's Kevin's rant for the week, okay? I hope that you're ready. Hope you're sitting down, have a nice cup of tea, coffee, or a white Monster energy drink, and you're ready to indulge me with my current rant. This is something that I've thought about for a really long time. It has developed over the years for various reasons, but recently there was something that I saw that went a bit viral that acted as a catalyst to sort of inspire me to say, hey, let's talk about this, because again, I like to talk about things that I haven't noticed other people talking about. Those are the types of things that are interesting to me, because if I'm just going to talk about what everybody's talking about, well, just listen to them talk about it. You're going to listen to me talk about something hopefully you haven't heard before, and it's this. So this video is making the rounds of this, what I presume was a husband and wife, and the wife is in the bathroom and she's holding up a towel over the mirror. Okay, she's holding a towel. She's in the bathroom, leaning over the vanity, holding a towel over the mirror. Now, what's funny is she is flipping out over the fact that her husband, who's recording her obviously on his phone, can still see her reflection in the mirror. And she does not understand why. Because she's blocking the mirror. She's blocking herself from the mirror with the towel, okay? So from her perspective, she's hidden behind the towel, so the mirror should not be able to see her. And that sort of concept of the mirror seeing her really plays into how she's thinking about mirrors. Because one of the things she keeps saying is, how does it know? Like, how does the mirror know that I'm here? How does it know? How does the mirror know? I think their kid is there too. And the kid says something about the mirror being a video camera or something. But she's flipping out because she doesn't understand how the mirror knows, as if the mirror is a sentient being, right? That's aware of her presence and therefore still showing her in its reflection with its mirror knowledge. So, of course, people are laughing at this thing and, using it as an excuse to call her dumb. This is why we need the Department of Education, because people need to understand mirrors. But my reaction to the mirror video was not, this is why we need to teach people how mirrors work, for a number of reasons that I will now elucidate. One is that, first of all, if either of them wanted to know how a mirror worked, they could have just Googled it. Okay. It's really easy to type the words, how do mirrors work, into Google and receive a detailed explanation. You could do the same thing in YouTube if you don't want to read about it. Those surely like brilliant and well animated and expertly explained videos on how mirrors work. Like the ability to understand things like that has never been easier, has never been more democratized, has never there. It's just impossibly easy to spend 3 seconds, not even, asking a question and getting an answer. So much so that a lot of teachers and professors I've heard for years have been worried about that, like replacing people's ability to understand anything because you're, outsourcing knowledge to your phone and you never really need to retain any information if you can always just look it up, right? That's its own problem. A more fundamental problem to me is that people don't actually care how things work. Okay, let me say that again. People do not care how things work, how anything actually works. There is a tiny, minuscule, infinitesimal sum of people who care how things work. Tiny percentage. The vast majority of people seriously don't care. First of all, when it comes to mirrors, okay, so I think, I don't know the exact reason why people don't care how things work. Perhaps there could be a study about it someday, or maybe there has been one and I haven't seen it. It's such a broad statement that it might be hard to nail down proof of it existing one way or the other. But how mirrors work, first of all, is pretty complicated. That's sort of where I wanted to begin, is like something that seems really simple, which is, this thing reflects stuff. If you actually want to understand what that means, well, now you're getting like eyeball deep into photons and like how photons react, how sight works. Like, how do you see anything? How do you see anything? Well, that's its own pretty complicated process to start learning about light and how your eyes capture light and your entire visual systems and your retina and your cones. And you got these cones in your eyes and the rods and all of this stuff. Okay. It, it gets really technical really, really quickly. And no one wants to do that. Like, no one is reading that like, yes, excellent. This is really exciting to me to learn about rods and cones and photons. I absolutely adore this information. Now, I don't even know, one thing that I think is also important about this is it takes a high level of abstraction to even begin to understand that, to really begin to understand anything at the level of how mirrors work. Because you have to imagine these photons reflecting and it's working against the Z axis, which is why you're kind of like flipped when you look in a mirror, is that it's not like flipping you horizontally. It's actually just bouncing the photons back to you directly, which causes it to appear that you've flipped on the Z axis in 3-dimensional space and blah, 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 blah. All of that. Most people's eyes are just going to cross and glaze over if you start getting into that, because you don't experience the world that way. You don't experience the world at the level of photons. You experience the world at the level of you standing in front of a mirror and you see yourself, or you standing in front of a mirror with a towel and you don't see yourself, but your husband at a different angle because of the way that the light is reflecting the mirror from his angle can still see you. I mean, you'd think that they would recognize this is like how side view mirrors work on a car, right? Like you're not standing in front of a side view mirror, but you're at an angle, and because of that angle, you can see the sides behind you of your car, which is a different angle, so you know when to merge, whatever. The crux of the issue is that people are just not interested in learning how mirrors work, whether it's too complicated and they don't understand. But I'm not even sure if that's the problem, because you actually have to try to begin with to even get to a level at which you decide, this is mumbo jumbo and I don't really get it and it doesn't make sense to me and I don't understand photons. So, whatever. But I don't even know if people get to that point. And as someone who does like knowing the why of things or how things work, it has taken me a really long time to, I guess, come to terms with the fact that most people are not interested in that. And that's frustrating because, well, yeah, I mean, you can only think how you do. You know, it's really hard to be able to think how someone else does. It's hard to think how someone who's smarter than you thinks, and it's really hard to think how someone dumber than you thinks. This is a problem I think a lot of smart people have, which is probably a different topic. But smart people really don't understand dumb people at all. And they get wrapped up in, well, it's this thing is obvious to me. Why is it not obvious to you? Obviously, you should do things this way because it's obvious to me. It's like, well, because it's not obvious to them. Like it's obvious to you because you're able to, handle complex hypotheticals and weigh different options in your mind and, create abstractions and come up with different ways that things can go. Some ways are better than others. And then you make a determination and then, oh, okay, so you've made a decision. Well, that was really easy for you because you could do all that in your head. I mean, I remember having a conversation about mathematics years ago with another YouTuber. And I was telling them, like, advanced mathematics is really difficult for me. And from their perspective, they were like, well, you could learn it. I could teach it to you. It's not that hard. And I'm like, yeah, it is though. Like for me, it's not that hard for you. You're excellent at this. I like to make analogies with athletics because I think this sort of thing makes it a lot more apparent to people. But to me, it was totally it would be like Shaquille O'Neal being like, why can't you dunk a basketball? Like, it's really easy to dunk. Like, I can dunk so easily. Like, literally all you do is jump really high and slam the basketball through the hoop. Like, you could definitely do it. All you got to do is practice, and eventually you'll be able to dunk a basketball. And I'm like, I don't think I could ever dunk a basketball, Shaq. I don't know what to tell you. I'm not tall enough. I'm not athletic enough. I can't jump high enough. Well, it's just not in the cards. Like, I will not be doing any 360 windmill slams anytime soon or anytime ever. Just not built that way. But this whole, like, nobody cares how things work thing goes back really far for me. So I want to tell you a story because Matt and I actually pitched a TV show to some TV folks years ago that I was really excited about. Like probably the best advice I would ever give to someone who wanted to start a YouTube channel is to make videos that you want to see. Okay. What does that mean? Well, if there are videos that you're frustrated with that no one else is making, you might have to make them. And if you make them, it might turn out that other people want to watch them. Johnny Millennium, the Happy Console Gamer, is a good example of this. He talked about a long time ago that there's a video game, there's video games and anime, both, that he was really passionate about. And this is going back, like whatever, 15 years ago or something. There were video games and anime that he was a huge, huge passionate fan about that no one had made videos about on YouTube. No one had talked about these games. No one had talked about these animes. So he decided that he would make the videos. He would make the videos talking about the Ease series, which is like an obscure Japanese action role-playing game series that has a relatively decent niche audience now. But in 2008 or whenever he, made his first video about Ease books 1 and 2, like there were literally no videos on YouTube about that game. So he did it. So this TV show was an example of that. It's a TV show that I would like to watch, but no one is making. So why don't we pitch it? Why don't we come up with the treatment? Why don't we go out and try to find a, production company, make a teaser reel or go shop it around, blah, blah, blah. That's its own whole little game, trying to get a TV show made. It's crazy. So the idea, the show is called Your Impossible Life. Okay. Your Impossible Life is the name of the show. And I'm going to tell you all about it because no one's making this show. And if somebody does somehow listen to this podcast and make this show, then I would applaud them and I would watch the show because this is a show I would like to see. The concept is very much based off of the TEDx talk that I did years ago, which has to do with the fact that all of us, every single day in the modern world, are surrounded by absolutely insane complexity that we treat as everyday, normal, mundane, boring. I mean, the mirror is a good example. Like a mirror is a crazy thing. It's an unbelievable invention. And now you can get mirrors for dirt cheap, any shape you want, any size you want. And you can make a viral video talking about how you don't understand how a mirror can see you if you're holding up a towel in front of you. The point of the show was to kind of go through all of those amazing things and explain where they came from, how they developed, how they work, the chain of events that occurred, like the almost impossible chain of events that had to occur to put that thing in your bedroom, or to put that thing in your bathroom, or to put that thing in your kitchen. And everything around you has that story. And no matter what it is, like look, just wherever you are right now. If you're at work, you're surrounded by this stuff. If you're at home, you're surrounded by this stuff because it's everything. So the crux of the show, the concept of the show was I would host it. The show would start. I would wake up in my bed and go from there. Meaning I wake up in bed and I look at my pillow and what is a pillow? Like actually, what's a pillow? How are they made? Where do they come from? Why do we start using them? Why is it more comfortable to lay down to sleep with your head resting on a pillow than without a pillow? Why are there different materials for pillows? Are any of those, or is one better than the other? What sort of studies suggest that maybe there is the best pillow? Maybe the My Pillow guy is right and his pillow is the best pillow. I don't know. I have no idea. But all of these are questions that I have that are surrounding all of us. Yeah. Conrad in the episode chat mentions Adam ruins everything. Yeah, this is the complete polar opposite of Adam ruins everything. This is like Kevin illuminates everything because all of this stuff is a miracle. It is an incredible miracle that we have windows. Okay? Like windows are crazy. I don't know if you know that, but like panes of glass are really impossible, like clear, like perfectly clear panes of glass are amazing. And it was really difficult to figure out how to do that and how to mass produce those and how to ship them safely so they don't break during shipping, how to install them, how to make sure that they don't degrade over time in some sort of way, how to replace, the glass on a windshield of your car. How is that different than the glass that's in a pane in your bedroom? The windshield glass doesn't really shatter like spider webs, right? What's that about? And then you could also have like super hydrophobic coating on that so that when it rains, the water just runs off of it. And you don't even really need windshield wipers if your windshield has good enough super hydrophobic coating. What is super hydrophobic coating? How does that work? Okay. So this show could go for 100 seasons because there is nothing that isn't this interesting. And this was the idea for the show, is like you could spend, an entire season of this show just inside your house easily. I mean, you could spend an entire season of the house just in your bedroom. I think this was probably one of the discussions Matt and I had when we were talking about this show, is like, do people want to watch like a full hour just on pillows and then another full hour just on beds? I don't know. Or is it, 1 hour is just in the bedroom so that you have a segment on pillows and then a segment on beds and then a segment on alarm clocks. Okay. A segment on hangers in your closet. Like, when did hangers become a thing? I have no idea. Hangers I don't think can possibly be that old, can they? Because I mean, even the idea of a closet was like quite the luxury for a really long time. I don't even know when closets really kind of became like a normal thing to expect a house to have. So definitely there were not hangers. I think, for the most of human history, if you had clothing storage, it was probably in some sort of, like chest of some sort. You'd fold up the clothes and the linens in some kind of wooden and leather box. I don't know. I don't know. But this is the point, is that nobody knows. And then the greater point is, which is the point of this podcast, is that nobody cares, which is so unbelievably frustrating to me, is that like having an interest in what all of this stuff is that's around us is non-existent. It's just, I don't know, like Wi-Fi. I don't know how that works. The TV. I don't know. I just watch it. The toaster. What is toast? What's going on to the bread in there and makes it so delicious? Is it the Maillard process? Does that apply to bread, or is that only meat? And what is like the perfect temperature for those heated coils in the toaster to make the perfect slice of toast. They have these like hot dog toasters. Have you seen these hot dog toasters? And I wonder where the oils from the hot dogs drip. Is there like a drip tray? Is there a drip tray in the hot dog toaster so that the hot dog toaster doesn't burst into flames? Because there has to be. So then there must be this disgusting pool of hot dog juice, of hot dog oils that congeal in a tray underneath the hot dog toaster that you have to scrape out after every use. The point is like, this is the show that I wanted to watch because I think it would be really compelling to have someone go a day in the, an average day in the life of a human being in the modern world. And then you just stick a freaking microscope on everything they do, on everything around them. You go to the bathroom, they brush their teeth. Like, brushing your teeth is, first of all, is really important. Let's let this part of the podcast be a PSA about dental hygiene, because people have died in droves throughout history because of dental infections, because of tooth decay, and then you get an infection in your gum or something and you're dead. Like, it's very serious. So dental health is a really big deal. And as far as I understand, dental health has gotten a lot better over the decades because of advances in things like toothpaste, people actually brushing their teeth regularly, flossing. When did people start flossing? Did they have floss 300 years ago? Was that a thing? What did they use? They just use a string or some sort of thing? I mean, I've looked into like ancient toothbrushes, and it's sort of what you'd expect, like some sort of bark, some sort of like frayed bark that they, rub against your teeth or whatever. Yeah, it's ultimately we haven't advanced that far when it comes to toothbrushes. They're just kind of easier to use, disposable, and pretty inexpensive. But the fact is that no one really wanted like this show was, when we pitched it to people, there was one production company that was like kind of interested, but like not really. The other ones were pretty much instantly like, how about this idea? That's instead like a cooking competition. It's like, what? Okay. I think there are a million of those already. I don't think we have to make another cooking competition show. But that's the way that television works, is that the shows have to be like very cookie cutter, very safe. They're not going to go on into production on a thing that they think is weird, especially not if it's expensive. And instead, they just want iterations of what they already know people want to watch, which, fair enough. Like, if that's how they pay the bills on, True TV and the Science Channel, then fine. I mean, I think it was Michael told me years ago when he was working on Mindfield that a TV executive told him that 20% of people are watching TV muted, like with the sound off. 20%. 1 out of 5? They're not only are they not listening to the show, I mean, they can't even hear it. Like, the sound is off. So that means that the visuals of your show, like your show has to be understood with no sound. You have to be able to just see what's happening on screen and follow along, because 1 out of 5 people can't hear it anyway. Which is to say that like a information dense TV show is no way. Like, that's a non-starter. That is a non-starter. A show where not only do you have to hear what's being said, but you have to pay attention. No, thanks. That's not airing. We're not putting. And the question is, why are we not airing that? Why are we not producing that? Why are we not funding that? Why are we not airing it? Because they don't think people are going to watch it. That's the reason, is they don't have confidence that enough people will be interested in it for them to, sell enough Toyota ads or Keytruda ads, or however they're making money, on the History Channel. But this concept of people like not caring how things work permeates everything that you see. Because if you know how something works, somehow miraculously, maybe you have like one thing, but aside from the people who maybe is a large portion of the audience of The Great Unknown, who actually do have an interest in how things work, unless you have a specialization in something, like you really are interested in dentistry. We'll just go back to teeth. You went to dental school, you're a dentist, you've been practicing for 15 years, and you love The Great Unknown, so you know everything about teeth. A lot of people who even have specializations and have careers or even went to school for a specific thing don't really care that much about it. Like, aren't super interested in it. Like, they're not staying up all night, like reading the latest research on gum health. So even within whatever niche you can find, auto mechanic, welder, history professor, even within that narrow niche, it's like a tiny slice of that, of people who are actually super interested in it, obsessed with it, like read deeply about everything involved with that discipline and have thought about it and have developed opinions about it and would like to talk about it, or even just like thinking about it. It's just not something that most people do. I mean, if you find someone, this is a thing that I've also learned, is like, if you find someone who's deeply interested in knowing how things work, whether it's your plumber or like an electrician or a car mechanic or something, hang on to them, make friends with them, buy them flowers and a case of beer and whatever it is that you have to do to have those people in your life, because you need them. We all need those people so desperately badly because they're rare. There's just not many of them. I've been dealing with, it's been like another thing that has been just a wrench in life lately, is I've been dealing with a lot of house issues. And luckily, I have met some guys who are just hyper nerds about the house problems that I have. And I could ask them, and I do, and I'm not sure whether I'm annoying or I'm fun for them to talk to, because I actually ask a lot of questions, but ask them a lot of, of questions about why they're doing this and not this, or how this is going to work, and, what the maintenance requirements are, and what if this happens. Now that I'm describing it, it actually sounds kind of annoying. But I have had plenty of instances in my Vsauce career with asking hyper nerds about the thing they're hyper nerdy about. And we've talked about this on the podcast before, and they have been thrilled, like jumping out of their skin to talk to me because someone is interested in their life's work. Oh my gosh, you're interested in the thing that I've obsessively dedicated my life to? Yes, I would love to talk to you because nobody else cares. I would imagine, even, like I said, other people who are probably in their department or whatever college they're at or whatever, they don't even care. They don't even care. They're exhausted having to listen to, Professor Schmundelwitz talk about dolphins again. But Schmundelwitz loves dolphins. And you know what? I have some dolphin questions for Schmundelwitz. But where this becomes ultra annoying for me is that there is a huge, huge, huge difference between people not caring how a thing works. Okay. Well, maybe there's not a huge difference. Maybe there's actually a direct correlation between people not caring about how a thing works and also being like feverishly locked in to their feelings about it. Like obsessively sure that they have the correct answer for something that they don't understand at all. That probably is why I don't think there is a difference. I think there is a connection there, is to be someone who is like obsessively one-minded about something complex. It's because they don't know how it works. And for whatever reason, they don't care. That is the part that confuses me. Okay. That's where I kind of throw my hands up and I give up about this. Is like, how can you parade around talking about a subject, telling other people about this subject, not understanding the subject at all? I think that, what topic can I even bring up as an example for this? I think economics is probably the easiest topic that everyone has like really strong opinions about. Everyone has really strong opinions about economics, about taxes and what taxes are being spent upon, and certain subsidies or endowments or anything involving money, what the minimum wage is and what it should be. Basically, everyone has a strong opinion on that subject. Almost no one understands economics. Like, the thing with economics, in my opinion, is that like not only do people not understand it, the people who do understand it don't really know what to do with it. Like, I don't know how to describe that, but economics is such a complex concept because you're dealing with everyone in the world. Okay, let's just start there. Everyone in the world, okay, is involved in some capacity with the domain of economics. All living human beings are involved at some level. Sometimes it's a small level, sometimes it's a really big level. Most of the times it's somewhere in between. And the complexity of that is it's impossible to put into a line graph. Like, what are you plotting? What are you plotting as far as if some random woman in Tuscaloosa, Alabama is going to create some brilliant cupcake donut hybrid next year that becomes a $1 billion industry? Who knows if that's going to happen? Nobody knows. That's not possible to know. It's not possible to know if some like Italian man in Chicago is going to, upend Uber with some new, cheaper, safer, more accessible way of ride sharing or parking a car or making a new social media platform, whatever it is. It could be anything, some new widget, a better mousetrap, the next great Shark Tank thing. Like on Shark Tank, here's a perfect example. Here's a perfect example that like nobody knows what's going to happen because it's impossible. You had this guy, I don't recall his name, but he was the CEO of Ring Cam. Maybe it was just called Ring Doorbell at that point. The Ring Doorbell guy goes onto Shark Tank. Now, Shark Tank is a panel of 5 multimillionaires, in some cases billionaires, people who they're tied in directly to what makes a successful business, how to run a successful business, and how to make a lot of money. This is all they do all day. You know, Damon John and Robert Herjavec and Kevin O'Leary and Barbara Corcoran and Mark Cuban and Lori Grenier and all the rotating cast of other people that go on that show. The Ring Cam guy comes in and doesn't get a deal. So his company is supposed to revolutionize the doorbell. Okay. I have a better doorbell. It's the same idea of building a better mousetrap. I have a better mousetrap and it's a better doorbell. Okay. Because this doorbell has a camera in it and that allows you to see who's at your door. So rather than it just being a bell that someone rings and now you have to go to the door and answer it, well, this doorbell is connected to your phone. So when someone rings it, you get a notification on your phone and live streaming video over Wi-Fi. So you can even talk to the person at your door through your phone. There's a microphone and a speaker on the doorbell. This is a much better doorbell. Everyone is going to want my new doorbell. The Sharks passed. They were like, Now, I don't remember why they passed because this was a billion years ago at this point, but none of them wanted anything to do with this stupid video doorbell. Fast forward a few years later, and Amazon buys the Ring doorbell for $1 billion. $1 billion with a B. Now Amazon owns it, and now that guy is a billionaire. So this panel of experts who, they're famous for cutting deals and making lots of money and investing in businesses, they were like, to this thing that went on to be acquired for $1 billion. Because it's impossible to know what's going to happen in the future when it comes to economics. But my point is that everybody feels like they understand completely. They have like no blind spots at all in terms of, well, if we only did this with the economy, or if the government only did that, then everything would be, everyone would be rich and we'd all have Lambos and, oh my gosh, we would live in utopia. Utopia is possible if only X, Y, and Z occurred. Like, okay. How do you even begin? Like, if you even understand a sliver of the complexity of economics, how do you even begin to, like, there was this funny thing. Oh, what was the tweet? Now I can't remember it, but I called it, the Scrooge McDuck theory of economics, which is that if you have a bunch of money, then you dump it into a gigantic vault like Scrooge McDuck so that you can swim through it all every day. You dive off your diving board into the gold coins and, do the backstroke, maybe the breaststroke, just get some laps in your coins. That's the Scrooge McDuck theory of economics. And if only we could empty the Scrooge McDuck vault, then it would solve everyone's problem. Everyone who has a problem, their problems would vanish if only we had the key to the Scrooge McDuck vault. All right? That is not how it works. It does not work that way. There is not a Scrooge McDuck vault. It's a lot more complicated than that. No, money doesn't just sit in a Scrooge McDuck vault. I mean, this was another example of this concept. We did that podcast about that Twitter thread about like AAA video game studios and the people that invest in those games, how, they could just invest in something else and make more money, which is what happens. There's not a Scrooge McDuck vault. What happens is that money gets moved into other projects so that the money can grow. And sometimes the money goes away and it's a failure and everyone just lost, you know, millions of dollars. You see this happen. Like here's a question. What is a movie flopping? What does that mean? What does it mean when a movie flops? It means that all the people that spent hundreds of millions of dollars on that movie, they just lost that money. It's gone because the movie flopped. It didn't make any money. It lost money, a lot of it. And that was the point of this podcast that we did about AAA game studios. Oh my gosh, there's been a lot of money lost on video games in the last couple of years. Like Concord was maybe the biggest failure I can think of. Maybe there's a bigger one. Maybe someone is screaming at the top of their lungs that there's a better example. But Concord was like a live shooter online game that Sony made. I'm pretty sure cost hundreds of millions of dollars. I don't remember the exact rough estimate. Let's just say it was $300 million, which is an insane amount of money. And it was such a failure, they shut it down. What, after a week? A couple of weeks? And the funny thing is that then you couldn't even buy it, like the physical copies of the games. This was like a really weird thing. Once they shut down Concord, which happened so quickly, because they weren't going to spend more money, keeping the servers running and all the staff to do all the maintenance of this live service shooter game because no one bought it. So they had to pull the plug because they already lost a ton of money. They weren't just going to continue to bleed that money out. So they cut their losses. That's what that term is, cut their losses. Anyway, it was a really interesting thing when they shut down Concord, because then the physical copies of those games became collector's items. So it went from a thing that nobody wanted to buy to now all of a sudden it was worth, one copy was like $150 or something on eBay because they were rare. You couldn't get them. So, that's another example of how impossible it is to predict economics. Who would have thought when Concord came out and flopped that a month later, there's this like red hot black market for selling copies of the Concord game physically on PS5. You can't predict that kind of stuff. So I first noticed being weird in this regard about wanting to know how things worked when I had a conversation years ago. I was at work and a girl was talking about how she hates another girl. And I asked why, because that's my natural instinct. Well, why? Why do you hate her? And she was like, I just do. I just hate her. I'm like, yeah, but like, why? Like, because I'm thinking, did she make up lies about you? Is she spreading rumors about you? Did she have an affair with your husband? Like why? Like, why do you hate this girl? I don't understand. And her response, she got frustrated with me, actually. See, I am good at annoying people. This is an annoying trait to have, I think. Because no one thinks this way. So when someone does, they're like, why? But she literally said I was weird. Because she was like, why do you care why I hate her? Why are you being weird? You're so weird. And I'm like, I don't know. I just thought maybe there was a reason. Perhaps if you told me the reason, then I would understand better and maybe I would also avoid this person so that she didn't do the thing that caused you to hate her to me. That seems sensible. No. No, 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 no. Not sensible at all, Kevin. Do not ask why. Just agree. Just agree with my feelings. That's what I would like. That's what I would like. And that's what almost everything is. That's how almost everyone thinks. I have a feeling about something, and that's good enough. There doesn't have to be a reason why. I have a feeling that the mirror should not be able to see me because I'm holding a towel in front of it. That's all that matters. I don't like it. I don't like that the mirror knows that I'm here. That's as far as I'm willing to take it. No, I don't want to understand photons. No, I don't want to understand the reflective properties of silver. Okay? Leave me alone. Stop being weird. Just validate my feelings. That's all I want. That is annoying to me. But apparently I am annoying to everybody else. And nobody else is interested in understanding anything. Just either want to be comfortable in being mad about it, or being sad about it, or being frustrated by it, or being confused by it. Let me just stay in my feelings. That's where I like to be. Not in my head, in my feelings. And I wonder, after listening to this podcast, two things. One, is this a thought that you've already had? And two, if it's not, will you start noticing this? That's the next thing that I want to know. Look at this. I can't get away from it. I cannot get away from being interested in knowing things. It's a disease. But I can't help it. Just find it interesting. So that's your homework for this week. Thank you, everyone, for listening. Bill will be back. I'll be back next week. Until then, see you, Space Cowboys.
Thanks for listening to The Create Unknown. We make this show with the support of our patrons. 100% of that goes directly to keeping episodes going every week. And the recent support has been amazing. Sidpoke, NRM, Venture Addicts, Weezer Good, you all really do make this show happen. Thank you to the Tots and the Dumpster crew, old and new, who save tiny little lives every month. And thank you to our grizzled, battle-hardened child infantry. Clemente de los Santos, Dan the Latch, Demetrius Andrews, Erica, Ferrycoon, Jen Mafasanti, Kevin Menard, Mikhail Steinke, Monahim, Natsu, Penny Piddler, Ryan Steer, Ryan Kinder, Samuel Manser, Sean S., Sean Malone, and Tom Videover. And a tremendous shout-out to our elite baby gang commanders. Atrocious Scuff, Kat, Dojangles, Graham Robertson, James Gallagher, Jeff Davis, Orange Vanilla Coke, Patrick Pister, TCU's personal pilot Andy, Ryan Carroll, Baseweight Vinthos, Yeetus Deletus, Jonas Walter, Nathan Robinson, and of course, Trev Stead. You are the elite. Thank you as well to our indentured servants, producer, editor Ben Webster, Minecraft mogul Laterman, Discord kitten wrangler Conrad, and producer emeritus Dan Yosua. Thanks to Baseweight for use of Created in the Unknown for the opening theme. Thanks to Electro Voice for giving us mics to sound good on top of it, and thanks to Main Gear for powering all our PC endeavors. The Create Unknown is an Unknown Media production in partnership with Studio 71.